Okay, so we've talked very briefly about terms and conditions. I'm now going to talk to you about collection letters. This is a subject very dear to my heart. When you go home, if you ever get home tonight, which is debatable the rate we're going, you look at the pile of posts sitting on the mat, and you don't need to phone a friend to work out what it all is. You look at it and you say, that's a bill, that's an invitation, that's this, that's the other. So which ones do you open first? The handwritten one with a stamp on it that looks a little bit different, because it could be a letter, it could be an invite, it could be, you know, the dying wishes of a long lost love or something interesting. So curiosity gets them to open the envelope. So if you're sending out chasing letters that are for long overdue accounts, instead of putting them in buff or white envelopes with a window and big letters saying solicitors or demand letter or whatever, lick a stamp, handwrite one, and they'll open it. Because half the battle about collection letters is just getting the person who receives it to bother to open it and read it. Some of them just go straight in the bin. How about making it easy for people to pay? This is something that I just fail to see in almost any client that we come across. Electricity companies produce bills which the front, I have to confess, is a mystery. It could frankly say anything on there. But what they're spectacularly good at on the back is telling you how to pay. So they tell you how to pay, how much, what it's for, the period, who to call, where to send it. They tell you all of this stuff. So why don't you, as business people, do the same for your clients and say, on the back of your bills, how can you pay us? Go to the bank, pay it into this account, write a check, tell them who to make it payable to, where to send it to, who do they post it to, can they pay over the phone? Give them all the options to pay. Take away the barriers to payment. Because a lot of the collection letters that we send out, and at the risk of doing myself out of work here, get paid by return because you've actually spelled out what they have to do. Pay me 7 days, this much, send a check here. And a lot of it comes to us because our clients, frankly, can't be bothered to put this on the back of their letters. So take a leaf out of the electricity board's book and clone something like that. Tell them those key features about payment, and you never know, it might just have an impact. If you've got to ring somebody up to chase money, this is always an interesting one. Nobody likes doing this. Prepare is everything. Far too often you see people just pick up the phone, call centre style, ploughing through calls, and if you ever get a call from a call centre, it's so frustrating because the person at the other end has no time to look at the account history. The phone's ringing in their ear as you pick it up. They've never seen your account before. It appears on their computer screen about a millisecond after you answer the phone. So you've got the luxury of being able to prepare and look at the account history. See what type of customer it is. Is it their first account and it's gone wrong straight away, or is it someone we've done business with for a long time and it's the very first time? Because you need to modify the way you approach it based upon those two factors. Setting an objective for a collection call is very difficult. Usually if I'm doing a training session, you throw it open and you say, what would be your objective when picking up the phone? They say, to find out what the problem is, to sort out when they can pay us, or some other such guff. The bottom line is, get paid, all of it, now. That's your objective. Anything less, you are setting out to fail. You have to aim for that, and you might have to work down from it, but if you set out for anything less than that, the call will be a failure, and you won't achieve the optimum result. So when we open the call, standard opening, keep it short, start low key, friendly and assertive. There's no point getting someone's hackles up if you say, hi, it's Andrew from BACKFlip. I'm ringing about your outstanding account for £1,000. Is it possible to get a payment? They say, yeah, how can I pay? I don't need to ruffle feathers. I've achieved the objective. I might be able to turn that person back round into another paying customer. And hey, presto, I can move on with my life. So those golden rules help you get ahead when you're making the calls. It's important that we know what the advantages and disadvantages are of using the phone to collect. Some obvious ones: it's quick, you get an immediate response, it's very personal, two-way, and importantly, no body language. You know, you might be hopping mad, going apoplectic, and have somebody standing behind you like the FD screaming out, you get that money now. Unfortunately on the phone you don't communicate that to the other side. However, the phone does have a number of disadvantages. It's verbal, so unless you've spent a lot of money recording your calls, it's very difficult to prove what was said or what wasn't said. Getting the right person, you know, we've all had to run around. He's not in, you know, he's had a brain hemorrhage. There's no one here to sign the checks. You know, the dog ate them. There's all sorts of excuses. And a really well-skilled secretary will keep you at bay for weeks, if not months. It's very time-consuming for that reason. And of course, there's no body language. Sometimes you need to communicate to the other people that you are hopping mad about it and you're not going to settle for anything less than a payment. So you need to take these factors into consideration when you determine the best way to get your money in. A couple of practical tips. When you want to get a fact from someone, ask closed questions. Yes, no answers. Can you pay today? 2 payments, one this week, one next week. They're yes, no answers. If you need information from someone, what kind of problem is it? Tell me about it. You know, you're having problems getting paid. Because debtors feel like they've got the world on their shoulders. It's crushing them. They're under terrible burden. And anyone who's prepared to listen, they'll spew out their whole life story to you. And they come up with, you know, this one, phew, that's a weight off my shoulders sitting on the guillotine. Because they feel like they've been unburdened. But the beauty is, as a credit controller, anybody responsible for this, you write down everything they say, because one day, as they say, it may be held against you. So it's a tactic. Yes, no, can we do this? And if the answer is no, let's talk to them. Let's engage in chat and let's find out what we can from them before we can progress things. This is an exercise every company should do. How to defeat the excuses. And it says, I have metal fillings in my teeth. My refrigerator magnets just keep pulling me into the kitchen. That's why I can't lose weight. They're lousy, they're lame, you've heard them all, they're shocking. So, every business, prepare a list of excuses that you hear on a regular basis and develop a tactic to knock each one down. I didn't get the invoice. Stay on the phone, I'm going to fax it to you now. Tell me, is it coming out the other end? You've got it. Right. Now is there a reason why you can't pay me? And so on. You know, we can email, we can fax, we can send this stuff straight from our desktop while we've got the debtor on the phone. So why let them off the hook? So this makes sure you're top of the pile in getting paid, and you get a commitment to pay, and there in your accounts department you have your list of excuses on the wall so everybody knows what to do. Now the final bit that I just want to talk to you very briefly about is that debt recovery historically in any business used to cost you money. I used to work for a big nasty law firm and we used to send out big nasty bills to lovely big corporate clients, and they used to pay them willy-nilly and it used to cost them a fortune. But we were good at what we did, so they kept paying. But the business model has changed because the costs of debt collection prior to court action have historically always come out of your bottom line. You're not entitled to get any of it back from the other side. So, you know, you were always reluctant in instructing someone to help you out collect. Now, late payment legislation, which everybody's apathetic towards, says you are entitled as a business, if you have supplied another business, to compensation as of right. You don't need to go to court. You don't need to send invoices. You don't need to do anything. You're entitled to it. Our business model is very simple. Business-to-business debt collection, pre-legal, free. We add on the late payment compensation. We collect it from the other side. They pay for the privilege of paying you late. You pay not 1 penny ever, period. So, again, change of the business model gives you new opportunities. So finally, a couple of hot topics that are in the news recently. If you're collecting money, no unsociable hours calling, and keep the number of phone calls reasonable. There's no definition of reasonable, it's in your discretion. Second big issue that the Office of Fair Trading are clamping down on is look-alike forms. People sending out things that look like court claim forms, look like court actions. Big, big no-no. And the final thing to remind clients, because we've had 1 or 2 clients come a cropper with this, is the Data Protection Act extends to everything that you hold about the debtor. That includes writing things like the debtor is a complete ... on the top of their account opening form, because it is now covered paper records under the latest Data Protection Act. You might have to produce that in court. Writing it in code doesn't get you off the hook either, because you now have an obligation to explain said code to the court if requested. So caution, everything you have is up for grabs. The price of compliance, princely £35 for a data protection license. Be surprised how many businesses haven't got one. So, Jedi mentality to collections. Prepare, engage the enemy, and then defeat them. Okay? No wimping out. Don't walk away from disputes. Knock them on the head. Thank you for listening. I will email out any copies of the slides. There's some here if anybody wants any questions. Please come and grab me. Be delighted to help you. Thanks a lot.